Now this goes to shit, or like, something else. We could also.
Hey, folks, we're going to get started in just a few minutes.
You made me administrative case.
I'm trying to figure it out, but I also Hi, everyone. We're going to get started now. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Casey Duva. I'm the Executive Director here at Regatta Point Community Sailing and Rowing. And we're excited to have you folks join us in the next 2 days for a race and some competition. It's never been more meaningful to us since COVID started to think about the history and what this brings for all of us. Starting in the 1850s with the first competitive race here on Lake Quinsigamond, you folks will be joining a long tradition of people who have rowed and competed in this wonderful venue. We're really looking forward to some nice weather and some people getting out there and experience rowing for the first time, or all the way up to novices joining and really racing for some of their first head races, up through the varsity and even into the masters. So this event really holds a lot of opportunity, both sculling on Saturday and sweeping on Sunday. This regatta will hopefully go off without a hitch, and we will hear lots of things, and we'll see a lot of good competition. Ultimately, though, at the end of all this, we're going to look for your feedback on ways to improve this, because we want a cycle of constant improvement here. So today's program is our Coxswain's meeting for our first regatta online, our first Coxswain's meeting online. And so we put together a little extra material that isn't ordinarily in there. But before we do that, I would like to turn this over to our regatta director, Richard Stavros, and he's going to say a few words about the beginning of this program. So, Rich, if you can unmute yourself, that would be great.
Hi, everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the 12th New England Junior High School Regatta. Some new things this year is we added a master's component to it in order to help the junior programs, because a lot of the master's programs throughout the state and through New England are some of the programs that help the junior programs, especially in the community junior programs, with funding and everything else. So we thought it would be nice to have that part of it. And we split off to a 2-day regatta, as like Casey said. The Saturday is the sculling and the masters, and Sunday is all the varsity and novice sweeps. And this regatta started in 2010 with approximately 14 clubs and 96 entries. Within 3 years, we were up to like 30 clubs. And this year, we're up to 51 clubs and over 381 entrants. And if I looked at the participants, we're at 1,700 participants in this regatta this year, which is a huge number. And this is all thankful to all the coaches that have put in a lot of time and energy and dedication, and the parent volunteers who help each one of these programs with the food and everything else. It's really a community effort. And the one thing I found when I was coaching is the friendships you make rowing seem to last for a lifetime. I'm going to have just a few small announcements before I turn it over back to Casey. As we both know, we're rowing out of the Regatta Point Regatta Point State Park and the Dunue Rowing Center. As of right now, we do have 9 programs rowing out of the DRC, and we need to get 2 or 3 more programs that want to basically boat out of the DRC, which has all the same amenities up there. The merch tents will be there. The parking is at Shrewsbury High School. There's a shuttle bus. So if you're one of the coaches and you don't mind rowing out of the DRC, we'd greatly like to have you, because at Regatta Point, we can only handle so many trailers. And once we hit that maximum trailer amount this year, those trailers that come late will end up being told they have to go to the DRC. So I'd rather have teams tell me they want to row out of there so they can let their parents know and their food people and everybody else, so they'll be at the right place. So if you have a chance tonight or tomorrow, just email me, especially tonight, because there's no rowing out of the DRC on Saturday. All the sculling is done out of Regatta Point. So if you can do that, I greatly appreciate it. And that's basically it. Just remember at the end of the regatta to please pick up your rubbish. We provide dumpsters for you. Throw your stuff in the dumpster. There is a gate charge to an entry fee to help offset the regatta. It's a suggested donation, so we ask you to help us there. And we're looking for some great races. In the past, we've had incredible races on this lake, and I think we've put together an incredible team of officials and volunteers, and we look forward to having each and every one of you here and wish everyone the best of luck. And Casey, it's all yours again.
Thank you, Rich, and I appreciate the pieces that you had to say there, and it really is important that we have good luck and good participation. And I would like to invite John Rhee, our chief referee, if he has any words that he would like to say about rowing on the course or any particulars. John?
Sorry, I was muted. I just want to let you know, welcome. And it's great to hear that we're doing this race again, that COVID is now sort of eased up for us to all get together and race. It's been a long time. What I want to bring up is that this is a U.S. rowing sanctioned event. So all U.S. rowing referees will be on site to officiate this race. And so U.S. rowing rules apply to this regatta. Just wanted to let you know. So everything will be officiated by U.S. rowing, all the rulings, anything that happens will be, as I said, officiated by U.S. rowing. So what I wanted to go over, I don't know if this is an appropriate time, Casey, to go over the penalties and things like that, because I was hoping that Nick Wright was going to review the course first. And then maybe I can come back and talk about penalties and things like that. I think that's more appropriate so that people can get an idea of what to expect, especially those of you who are new to this venue or new to this regatta. I would prefer that Nick Wright review the course with you. And then I can go over sort of, the basic, what I say, penalties. As I said, U.S. rowing rules apply to this regatta. So if you're familiar with U.S. rowing rules, such as protests and things like that, those are all applicable and enforced. So let me turn it back to you, Casey, as the moderator, and maybe have Nick go over the course, and then we can talk about penalties and things like that.
Absolutely. So thank you very much, John, for your warm welcome. And Nick is about to jump in right here. So we're going to do a little old-fashioned handoff where I'm going to shut the screen off for a second, then Nick's going to jump right on here. So without further ado, give me 1 sec.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to go over the course. On Saturday, we're running our short course, which is from the Narrows to the DRC. And on Sunday, we're running our full course, which is from the Twin Islands to the DRC. We installed our buoy course today, and that is a string of red buoys running straight down the middle of the lake. And I'm about to show you a video we took today. It is from the very bottom of the lake to the finish line and beyond at the DRC. And this is here at the start. That's the Twin Islands. You'll see coming up here is the buoy line on the left, and we are approaching the Narrows. And here is the Narrows. I'm sorry. Casey, how do I go back here? There we go. And let's go back. So again, that's the very start, and we're approaching the Narrows here. Right about here, there's going to be an orange mark, or two orange marks that are going to delineate the start of the no passing zone. The no passing zone is in force as you go through the narrows, and I missed play button again. So the no passing zone is in force. Oh, again. I'm going to let it run this time. No passing zone is in force from the narrows, from the two orange buoys that are connected by those white buoys right there. And as a straight shot to the bridge, the Route 9 bridge is wide enough for several crews to go under, but please do so safely. There's a kink in the course to the right, and it is a straight shot just under 2,000 meters to the finish line here. The first white buoy is just short of the finish line, and then we're going to ask you to go all the way through the bridge to turn around. The main hazards on the course are the non-racing side of the course. There is, just after the finish line as you're returning, the pump house, which is a brick building just past the finish line, north of the finish line, which is a shallow area. As you are approaching the start, there's a sandbar which will be marked by an orange mark at the ice cream place, which is the big pink building at the marina, which is again just short of the narrows. And then the beach at the narrows is also a shallow area marked by a mark. And the warm-up area, as you can see by the just below the starting line, there's a shallow rock pile that will be the focus of the traffic pattern down below the start. On the course itself, there's two environmental buoys that look like no wake buoys. They're white with a little bit of green trim. They are off the main racing line, but they are on the side of the course that you are racing. One is about 500 meters south of the Route 9 bridge, and the other is just before you get to the DRC. Like I said, they're off the course, but they're there. They are white and tall and obvious, and that is the obstructions and the course in general. John, did I miss anything for you?
Course-wise, it's fine. I know we probably are going to jump around, but what about, I know one of the things that we sort of, a question came up was about hot seating and things like that. I know that they're going to be launching from Regatta Point and Donahue, right? For boats will be launching, but.
Correct. Launching is done from our south dock, which is the dock behind the Regatta Point building. That single dock, we can fit multiple boats on that at the same time. Our dock masters will be helping people to get the boats off as quickly as possible. The landings are done from the north docks, which are the wooden docks at the north end of the park. Hot seating can be done either from the beach via wet launching, or if they are careful enough to go through the front dock, which is slightly obstructed by a outstretched finger extension, but it is possible to hot seat from that dock as well.
Okay, no, I think you covered that. Is there anything else that you wanted to continue? I mean, I was going to pick up the penalties. You've got the slide up, so we can talk about that together.
Sure.
So we discussed this with the LOC. The penalties are really at the discretion of the LOC and US Rowing. We talked about this and we came up with this agreed on this. So when we said that this 10-second penalty will be applied for being late to the start. So if you come up, it's not if you're late to your event necessarily. It's late if you miss your event that we're talking about applying a late to start. If you show up, like if you're boat number 2 in an event where there might be 30 boats, right? And you come in at 31, we'll slot you in, right? If it's within the window of your event. But if for some reason you show up, if you show up late and the next race is going to kick off, it's really the discretion of the starter, whether they should slot you in. We're not going to put you in if the next race is on, say, an 8s event, right? That's where there's some room for judgment. It's a judgment call on the referee, but if it's safe to put you in, we will slot you in. But there is a 10-second penalty that we will apply. A 20-second penalty here on the slide is failure to give way or yield and buoy violation. So just to let you know, the LOC has buoyed the course. We have a fully buoyed course that they put in, yesterday, I believe?
Today, but yeah.
So there is a fully buoyed course. And if for some reason you go outside of the buoy line and come back in, referees will be on the water observing. So they may assess a buoy violation. If you go outside of the parameter, or if you go outside of the lane, they will assess a 20-second penalty. You won't know on the water. You'll know when you finish, because it's kind of hard for us to call it out, but you should be aware of that. I just want to let especially the coxswains and the blind boats know that buoy violations, there's a penalty involved here. And when we say failure to yield, that means if there is a crew that's passing you, you have to yield to that crew. You need to give that. If they are clearly passing you and you don't give them room, that's also a penalty, a 20-second penalty. Now, Nick talked about on the map, I don't know if you can show it, the narrows. We were talking about the narrows. You can show you on the map. It's a very tight area. There's no passing in the narrows. So that's another thing too. If there's somebody passing, you have to yield. And also at the same time, you could be assessed a 2-minute penalty, or 2-minute penalty here. The other thing that we also came up with, or even we talked about as a group, as the referees talked about, and with the LOC, is also the referees on the water, especially the starter up at the start, have the right to exclude a crew if they feel that the crew is unsafe, is practicing unsafe rowing. I mean, meaning that they can't row. If we deem, especially with novices, we are concerned about novice crews coming up to the start, and for some reason they can't control their boat, or they're not moving. We'll make a judgment call at the start and possibly exclude them and just have them row back to the finish. That's something that we talked about. And then also, if a crew is exhibiting dangerous practice or doing dangerous things, we also reserve the right to exclude the crew. But we're not going to do that. We're going to use our judgment carefully. All the referees who are coming to this event are rowers themselves and coaches. So they will use their own professional judgment on whether to exclude a crew or not. We want to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, because this is an event that you have worked so hard to come to and paid for and to have fun. So we definitely want to give you the opportunity, but if we see anything out of the ordinary, we reserve that right to exclude you. And the other thing too is, you've heard this before, any kind of unsportsmanlike conduct, we will also exclude you. When we say exclusion, we mean not the entire team, but the particular boat, or the particular boat. If there's unsportsmanlike conduct, we will exclude the boat. And then down here it says, if a boat is viewed by officials to be unsafe, this is sort of incorrect. It's not disqualify, we will exclude you. That's the right terminology here. And the last thing I wanted to point out is that when you finish the race, just like in US rowing for sprints events too, if you feel like your chances of winning or something was compromised, you always have the right to protest. So at the end of the race, we ask that if you protest and want to lodge a protest, that you go to the finish marshal, who will be, there'll be a marshal, referee who's down at the finish line, communicate to them that you want to protest. And then that information will go to both the regatta director and the finish line. And we'll mark it as unofficial until a ruling is made. But you have an hour, as soon as you get off the water, you have 1 hour to write up the protest, you know, what happened on the water. And you need to pay $50. That's the sort of the fee that we ask. And then launch the protest, right? File the protest with the race director. In this case, it should be Rick Stavros. And if you choose not to proceed, also inform him so that we can go back to the finish line and mark your race official. So we won't mark the race official if you protest. It's only when a ruling is made or you decide that you are not going to proceed with the protest that we'll go back and mark the race official, and you'll get your official time. And that's pretty much all I had at this point, Nick. So.
Okay. At this point, I think, well, I hand over it back to you.
Oh, no, you can finish up.
All right, I will finish up then, and I think we're going to take any questions. What? Oh. I actually am going to hand it over to Casey real quick, so just hang on 1 second.
Hey, folks, I just wanted to go over a couple of changes to the format that we have this year. And there are just a couple of pieces of housekeeping. So as always, thank you to Lake Quinsigamon Community Rowing and St. John's High School for helping us, the Department of Conservation Recreation, Worcester Public Schools, and Worcester Boat Club. Those are all very important partners that make this happen. So at the end of this, my hope is that you know a few things, and one is communication and coordination, and that really ties into how we're going to treat this regatta and run it because of COVID, and we want to make sure that we're clear and safe. So we have a new method, and I'm going to try and get these slides into the chat for you in a second, but you will be able to text and call this number right here, 508-864-4180. You can text or call, and that's going to get you the regatta office. So that'll try and minimize some of our contact. You can also email info@regattapoint.org. We will be using Marine Radio Channel 71, and you'll be able to get your results on herenowtiming.com/results. All of those are mechanisms to really help you have the best possible event that you can have and minimize any particular types of things that could go wrong. We have, we'll skip over that. Launching and landing really try to be 45 minutes. All crew should plan 45 minutes to get to the starting line, just in case anything goes wrong. We really don't want you to miss your race. We talked about the penalties, parking and trailers and transportation. So we've added one little component that we hope you'll pass along to parents. The first thing is trailers get to Regatta Point on Saturday, starting from 3 to 6:30 p.m. And the trailers are really on a first come, first serve. On Sunday, we have an opportunity where anybody can park at the Shrewsbury High School for free. And the next part is we have a shuttle bus that's going to loop around and do transportation at no cost, just to try and alleviate some of the parking issues. And that will go to the Donahue Rowing Center, to Regatta Point State Park, and then it'll make its way back to Shrewsbury High School. Take about a half hour for that loop, maybe a little less, 20 minutes to a half hour, depending. And gate donations are $10 per person, max $30 per family. Those are really to help offset the enhanced costs that come about from running this regatta. As everyone's kind of come to know, things have gone up in price, and we're not immune to that. So just a couple of things to think about. So coaches need to complete their certification form. download updated information packets on Regatta Central. And I actually think that's .com. You can pick up your packages on Saturday at the Regatta Point office. And on Sunday, you'll also be able to get them if they're all complete at the Donahue Rowing Center by seeing one of the St. John's coaches. Here and Now Timing is really gonna handle that. And this is our weather forecast that we have coming up. So our water temperature is 68 degrees and our air temperature is gonna be about 61 on Saturday and 63. And while you're on the water rowing, it's gonna be beautiful and wonderful. When you get off the water, just make sure you plan accordingly. It looks like there's no rain, a little bit of overcast sky though. So just some things to keep in the back of your mind and make sure that things are there. So our next part of this meeting, because I'm trying to make sure that we finish on time, is that we have some questions, and I'm going to have Nick answer some of these questions which have been coming up in the chat. While Nick does that, I'm also going to put this presentation into the chat for you. So Nick, if you don't mind unmuting yourself in the video as well on your machine.
All right, and I'm back. So I'm just going to go through a list of questions that I've gotten or we've gotten in the chat. How long is the short course and the long course? The short course is 2 miles, about 3,200 meters. The long course is 2.6 miles, about 4,200 meters. Will there be a referee at the Narrows? Yes. There will be a referee at the Narrows. There will also be another launch on the backside of the Narrows as well.
Yeah, actually, we talked about that because the Narrows is a tough place to observe on passing, or it's just narrow. So we wanted to have 2 referees to witness, because there have been situations where someone has passed in the Narrows and one of the referees can't see it from the angle they're positioned at. So we're going to have 2 people there, and it's also for safety too, just in case.
And to be clear, the Masters are rowing the short course. The start as is everyone but the novice singles on Saturday. And again, as I said before, the course, the buoys is in the middle, so you're keeping to port at all times. And again, all the obstructions all the shallow points are on the way up to the start along the Worcester shoreline, which will be marked by orange sailing marks. Someone asked about launching off the North Docks. The first events of the day, the novice singles on Saturday and the men's first fours can launch off the North Docks to start with. Everyone else is required to launch off the South Docks. How is the Narrows marked? The start will be 2 orange buoys. The middle will be small white buoys every 10 meters, and the end is 1 orange buoy. And again, the orange buoys throughout the rest of the course are every 100 meters. Car toppers are the only cars allowed into Regatta Point, the Regatta Point parking lot. They'll be allowed into the north end of the parking lot where they can leave after the race on Saturday. Is an hour and 10 minutes enough to hot seat? Yes, it is. And trailer parking at the DRC is only allowed on Sunday. Novice singles will be, our novice singles warming up south of Route 9. Yes, they'll be warming up south of Route 9 bridge where they will not go all the way to the Narrows. There's plenty of room on the other side of the Route 9 bridge, but we want to keep the novice singles close to that starting line. And I think I just said this, but the question is, are there markers for 1,000 meters and 500 meters? The red buoys are every 500 or every 100 meters down the course. And I just saw in the chat, wet launching on the beach is allowed. We will have a person checking bow balls and heel ties. So if you're wet launching, please check in with that. I believe that Whalen Weston is going to be mostly rigging from the beach, but if the docks are full, you're more than welcome to also make your way down to the beach. The only short novice race this year, and this is a change, is the novice single. The novice single is the short course from Route 9 to the DRC. All novice sweeping is running the full course this year. So there is no start change on Sunday. They are racing from the 2.6 mile starting line all the way up to the DRC. And the Masters sweep, on the other hand, is rowing the Saturday course, which is the short course. All Saturday, except for the novice singles, are rowing the short course. The novice junior singles are rowing the Route 9 to the DRC short course. Go. John, I think we've run out of questions. We're more than happy to take any more, but John, if you have anything else to say.
The only thing I noticed that we didn't talk about was timing. So my understanding is Here Now is the vendor who's going to be doing the timing. So just let people know.
Yep, it'll be linked on Regatta Central. We will have I'll have a QR code in the bow number packets for them as well. And yeah, we'll probably have a couple links to share around too.
Yeah, the only reason I mentioned is because if the parents are coming, they wanted to check the results, they can go to the web, right? As soon as the results are finalized and posted, right, approved, they'll get loaded up to the Here Now website, and people can go and check check the times, which is nice.
And that brings up one more thing is medals will be able to be handed out once races are official. Please, especially with our COVID requests, please have one coach come to claim the medals. We'll have you sign for them, but please don't send a group of kids to go claim the medals. It's a coach needs to sign them, and preferably only one at a time.
Yeah, so Nick, I don't have anything else to add at this point, except to say good luck, have fun, and be safe. So.
All right, I think I have two last minute questions. The buoys on the entire regatta are on the port side as you go down and up. And our course is from the south to the north, the two islands, which take you into the Narrows, which then you have about 2,000 meters to the Route 9 bridge, and then again, about 2,000 meters to the finish line. Yep.
Nick, do you want to mention about the trailers, food trailers coming into Regatta Point? They got to unload, and the drop-off points for athletes?
Okay, so there are no buses or food trailers allowed in Regatta Point. This is to help us park all the trailers as best as we can. There are loading zones for both buses and food trailers along North Lake Ave, right in between the main gate and the north trailer gate. And we will, yes. That is the loading zone, and then there's parking up on UMass for both buses and any food trailers once you unload.
And for those coaches, the trailer and buses is the upper part of UMass. It's an open parking lot and there's no charge. Parents that use UMass parking garage will have to pay. There's very limited parking on the street. And we encourage people not to park on the street for safety reasons. And if you're rowing out of the DRC, there is no street parking. You must park at the Shrewsbury High School parking lot and be bussed in and out. You can drop off your food, you can drop off your kids, and then the buses go up to the Shrewsbury High School.
Yep. And one last question again, looks like the quads are racing the short course that is from the Narrows to the DRC. All Saturday boats, the junior sculling and the all masters events are running the short course, which is from the Narrows to DRC, with the exception of the novice singles, which are running, I'll call the very short course from Route 9 to the DRC. And without that, Casey, are we all set? Thank you very much, everybody.
Folks, so you'll be able to find this webinar up on Regatta Central. And it's, hold on, sorry, okay, you'll be able to find this webinar up on Regatta Central. We'll post a link to it should you want to see it in the chat. I've posted the slides and we've also posted the link to the video of Lake Quinsigamond. It's hopefully it's helpful and kind of shows and highlights the parts of the course. You can see the Narrows, that pinch point that we talked about, going under the bridge and your finish all the way up. Make sure that you clear the entire finish line after you've finished your piece of rowing. We are asking you to go straight under to the 290 bridge and finish it up there. So unless there are any other questions, I think we have covered all the material that we wanted to cover. I will stick on for another few minutes just in case anybody wants any last minute pieces. But again, we wish you happy rowing. Don't hesitate to reach out to our cell phone number, which we've published in the slides, and we probably should put in the chat again, if possible, and we'll go from there. So thank you very much, and I'll hang out for another 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, so there was only one thing I want to mention.
I'm sorry, John, I can't hear you.
Sorry, there was only one thing I wanted to mention that I should have mentioned earlier, but it had to do with.
John, you're muted.
Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. You hear me now?
John, I think you're still muted.
Oh, okay. It doesn't matter anyway. It's all right. I'm set.
I'm sorry, it seems that the error was at my end.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you hear me? Oh. Yeah, so all I wanted to say was that one of the things that we always talk about every year, and I should have brought this up, is that sometimes in the warm-up area, I just want to let the crews know that they should be cognizant or they should be aware of their race time, because we have had situations where they may go up to the warm-up area and row, to warm up, practice, and they lose sight of time, and that's part of why they're late to their event sometimes. So especially the team boats, the coxswain should be aware of the time and make sure that they get to the start on time. So that's the only thing I wanted to mention.
Looks like we have one more question in the chat. And so the question is, will the gate be locked before 5:30 a.m. on Sunday? And the answer is yes. So we should unlock the gate right around 5:30 and then trailers can start coming in. Yes, there should be room as well on Saturday for those trailers to come in. Again, it's once it fills up, we're full. I think we can handle somewhere between 30 and 35 trailers, depending on how close on Sunday, correct. And then we'll ask people to head down to the Donahue Rowing Center where there's plenty of room and it's a very nice location as well.
Casey, on the Saturday, the only trailers that'll be allowed in the park between 5:30 And 3 o'clock will be those that are competing on Saturday, which are those boats that are those crews that are strictly sculling, or those crews that are doing a combination, which we already know who those trailers are. No other trailer will be allowed into Regatta Point until after 3 o'clock. So just because you show up at 12 o'clock and you're not going to get in the park until 3. So we want to make sure that all the sculling trailers get out, so we have that room. So it's a switch over, and we've given ourselves almost 2 hours to get those trailers out of there that are leaving, so we can get the other trailers in. So on Saturdays for the coaches and the drivers, there's only a window of opportunity from 3 till 6:30. And at 6:30, the gates get closed again for the night. And there's no trailer parking again, as I said earlier, at the DRC on Saturday or Friday night. Only trailers coming in on Sunday morning. And thank you all again, and for the crew and the staff that did this thing, and Casey and John and Nick and Lucas, great job. Thank you very much for all your help. You guys have done a tremendous job, and it makes for a great weekend for racing.
So we got one more question in the chat, and that was, should we expect to go to the DRC? And so it really depends on what time you get here in terms of where you're going to end up having to go.
If you're housed out of the DRC for master's programs or for any of the schools that are up there, you can row Saturday out of the DRC. We just don't want any of the other crews up there. So if your home base is the DRC, you can row out of the DRC on Saturday.
We got a great question. If it fills up, will we post it somewhere? And we'll put it up on Regatta Central if the parking lot becomes full for trailers. Like I said, I'm going to hang around, but our webinar is all set. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and we're looking forward to seeing you.
And don't forget to register. We'll be inside the boathouse for registration in the morning. And if you have any questions or coxswains want to talk to somebody, I will be there, and anybody can come up to me and ask me any questions. I believe John Reed is usually in there with me too, so we don't go on the water until 8 o'clock, so.
Yes, if there's any questions regarding rules or the race course, yeah, definitely I'll be available for any questions and answers.
All right, folks, without further ado, going once, going to close the meeting unless there are any questions. Going twice.
For those who are volunteering, remember we have a food tent, so that we are providing food for volunteers, so.
Going 3 times for questions. Thank you very much, folks, and we look forward to seeing you on the water. Have a wonderful night and get a good night's rest.